right, you guys, finally I am here with my UFC light heavyweight champions, Jon Jones. This is my video, my not so deep dive into Mr. Jon Jones. This is going to be part one of the video because there's just simply so much to talk about, too much for one video. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So, Mr. Jon Jones was born in Rochester, New York, July 19th, 1987. He's 32 years old. He is one of four children. The oldest is his sister Camille, who unfortunately passed away of a brain tumor right before she turned 18. Next would be his brother Arthur Jones, who you know as the Super Bowl champ from the Baltimore Ravens. He's a lineman. What I didn't realize was he's only a year older than Jon. He's 33 years old. I thought he was a few years older. Only one. Then you have Jon there, of course, at 32, and then his younger brother, Chandler Jones, who is a Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. Someone let me know who he's with now. Arthur only played 8 years. Let me know why only 8 years with an injury. Did he just want to get out? And with Chandler, I'd like to know what team does he play for now? But he got his ring with the Pats, and he is 30 years old, so all close in range. Jon Jones' father was is a pastor. Jon Jones' mother is a nurse who also helped out with the church quite often. Unfortunately, his mother did pass away in 2017 at the age of 55 from diabetes-related complications. Before that, she actually went blind due to those diabetic complications. I know I didn't say that correctly. So just people are always talking about that family like, oh, such an athletic family. Look at those boys. Look at those boys. But then you see the mother who passed away at just 55 and the daughter before 18. Such an imbalance. I bet they would give away all of their son's physical gifts to have their daughter and their mother back, right? It's just something to think about. So unfortunately, she passed away at the age of 55. All three of his brothers went to high school in Endicott High School in upstate New York. It's a nice area, nice high school. Arthur and Jon both played football and they both wrestled. Jon Jones, of course, was a high school state champion, but he actually got his nickname Bones from his football coach, who named him Bones because he was very tall and very thin, especially by football standards. That's where the nickname comes from. So after high school, Jon Jones went to Iowa Community Center College for a very brief time before he transferred to Morris College to study criminal justice. In 2007, actually, though, is when he got his high school sweetheart. I thought she was his college sweetheart. No, high school sweetheart, who later becomes his wife. 2007 is when she got pregnant and had their first daughter. So he decided to go ahead and quit college and start training in MMA. 2008 comes around, and just in just 3 months, Jon Jones goes 6-0, all finishes, and that run ended in him becoming the USKBA light heavyweight champion in 2008. Also in 2008, that is actually when he signed with the UFC and debuted with the UFC. I mean, talk about a pack year there in 2008 for Mr. Jon Jones. Now, 2009, I told you I have notes here. Oh, yeah, see, this is why I have notes. While he was in college, he became the JUCO national champion while he was in college. This is before he quit. This is why we have notes. All right, 2009 is when he actually had his second daughter. In 2009 is also, his record actually is 26-1-1. 2009 is when he actually got that loss against Matt Hamill in a disqualification for a 12-6 elbow. And not only do many folks in the business, but many folks like us who are fans of the business, we all think that this rule is silly. But actually, this was the first time that the instant replay was actually used in a decision by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. They used the instant replay to see that Jon Jones's illegal elbows actually further damaged the nose that was already lacerated. And so they used that instant replay to back up the decision of the ref. So first time instant replay was used on that decision. Also, to this day, Dana White is still trying to get that overturned to a no contest to this day. First loss. I don't got my glasses on, I'm so sorry. So 2011, 2011 is when actually his training partner at the time, Sugar Rashad Evans, pulled out of what should have been his title shot against Mauricio Shogun Rua, who was the champion at the time. So Rashad pulled out due to a knee injury. So Jon Jones got to slide on in there. And as we know, he defeated Mauricio Shogun Rua in the third round due a TKO. Started by a knee that was so ugly up against that cage. He became the youngest UFC champion to this day at 23 years old. And by the way, fun fact, on his way to that fight, him and his trainer ran down a robber who had stolen the GPS out of an old couple's car. They ran down the robber, held him into the police cave on his way to that title fight. So at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, Jon Jones is going to have a good relationship with law enforcement. 2012. 2012 March 19th, early in the morning, Jon Jones was arrested for DWI for crashing his Bentley into a telephone pole. There's rumors that he had a young lady in that car who was not his baby mama at the time. So yeah, so quickly we saw that turnaround from being the hero to his first negative run-in with the law. Right after that, 2013, he became the coach for The Ultimate Fighter, season 17, against Chael Sonnen. At the end of that fight, at the end of that run in April, he had that championship fight against Chael Sonnen. He beat him in the first round TKO, which he definitely needed to do because he dislocated his big toe in that first round, and had the fight gone past the first round, the doctor would have stopped the fight, and he would have lost his belt, no contest. So, in 2013, later on, 2013, September. This is when we have the first fight against Alexander Gustafsson. If you have not seen this fight, please watch this fight. If you haven't watched it in a long time, I just rewatched it. Please rewatch this fight. It is, highly regarded as one of the best UFC fights in history. Regarded as the best title fight in light heavyweight history against, it was a unanimous decision, but the fight went back and forth. You just have to watch it for yourself. They both have lacerations, swollen, both rushed to the hospital, even though both left the hospital that same night, and neither one of them had any broken bones or real big injuries, which you wouldn't have thought if you saw the way they looked after that fight. So please, please check that fight out. Also in 2013 is when he had his third daughter. After the third daughter is when he married his high school sweetheart, 2013. Now, I'm actually moving through this pretty quickly, so I guess the second video is going to be really long. So, because we're already to 2015, when he had his first fight against Daniel Cormier. Please go back, not just watch the fight, but you got to go back and watch the build up to this fight. For me, this was iconic as far as beefs go, as far as fight build up. This was the most authentic beef I've ever seen in my life. I will do videos on fighters who have changed the game, and when I do that, one will be Ronda Rousey, and we'll talk about that beef with her and Miesha Tate. But other than that, this is the most authentic beef I've ever seen in my life. It is based in reality. They both have the same story. They both tell the same story, which is first time they happened to come across each other, which was in the gym. DC was already the man in the gym, of course, coming off of being right off the pole in the Olympics. Jon Jones comes in as a young whippersnapper into the gym. He goes for the biggest dog in the gym, which is DC, and he says, it goes right up to DC, and he says, in front of everybody, I bet I can take you down. DC is highly offended by this. They tell the same story, again, same story. Highly offended by this. No respect. When the young guns come in the gym, they ain't supposed to show respect to the vets. You ain't supposed to just walk up to me. You are on the right to come and to challenge me. So this is where this comes from. And ever since then, that first interaction in the gym, every time they saw each other, there was beef. There was tension, which of course, the climax, which was honestly of the personal beef right before the fight in August with the press conference, where you have the two of them going to do the whole stare down situation. They walk towards each other. Jon Jones purposely puts his head against DC, and you saw it. It was kind of rough. DC takes both hands, and it's like right here on Jon Jones's neck and face, and he pushes Jon Jones back. Then Jon Jones, I believe it's Dave Scholler at the time, he took it easy on Scholler. He could have just violently pushed him out the way, but instead, because he's so much stronger than him, he just pushed past Dave Scholler, who flies through the backdrop, going through the backdrop, taking the whole backdrop down. Then you see Jon Jones throws one punch, then another, then the camera moves. They're both on the ground. DC tries to take him down. At one point, Jon's on top of him. Then people are trying to pull him apart, and DC's kicking at him and kicking at him. Afterwards, they managed to put the backdrop back up, and then Jon Jones comes back and he's screaming, ah! It is exhilarating. It is one of the most awesome, authentic moments I've ever seen in combat sports history. And you got to go back and check that out. Fast forward to the fight. It went all 5 rounds, unanimous decision in favor of Jon Jones. It was a great fight. Again, great build-up. And for me, again, a real moment for authentic beef and something that really sells a fight. After that, unfortunately, it was revealed that Jon Jones failed an out-of-competition drug test of which he popped positive for cocaine. And so let's talk about that real quick. And we're going to be coming to an ending for today. So Jon Jones, this is his first positive drug test, right? Now, it was for cocaine. He popped positive 30 days prior to the fight with DC. This is the reason why he did not get in trouble, the reason why he was not suspended, the reason why he did not get pulled out of the fight. Because this was an out-of-competition test for which he should not have been tested for street drugs. You can be on cocaine and smoke weed and all that kind of stuff. Just don't do it too close to the fight. Now, an in-competition test happens within 12 hours before and after the fight. If he would have tested positive for cocaine within that 12-hour period before or after the fight, then it would have been declared a no contest. I don't know if they would have stripped the belt, but the Nevada State Athletic Commission would have came in, water would have came in, there would have been all sorts of consequences had it been an in-competition test. But since it was an out-of-competition test, he was actually not even supposed to be tested for street drugs. And that's not me, that is according to Bob Bennett, who was the commissioner of the Nevada State Athletic Competition. At the time, I believe he still is. He even said Jon Jones should not have been tested for cocaine. This is why he was not punished. This is why he didn't have to get his belt stripped. This is why there was no consequences to this this failed drug test. So that's actually where we're going to stop today. This actually went quicker than I thought, which is good because the next video is just going to be full of controversy. And then we're going to go down through the fun facts that I found throughout my research here on Jon Jones. But yeah, for someone like me who's actually followed his whole career, because we're basically the same age, I've been growing up with him, I actually learned a lot about him within this research. So I'll be looking forward to coming to you with the next video, which should be dropping in a couple of days. And let me know if so far you've learned anything new. Let me know. Again, like I said, I have some questions about his brothers and all of that stuff. Anything you might want me to talk about in the next video, which is part 2 of Mr. Jon Jones. And remember, we're in 2015 right now. So a lot to cover in the next video of the light heavyweight champion, Mr. Jon Jones. All right, so subscribe, like, friend me on, oh gosh, this whole quarantine situation just has me. I don't even know how to end my videos anymore. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm on Snapchat. Subscribe, like, talk to me, take care, and goodbye.